Hello, Farger101 here. We're going to have a quick breakdown video of how I felt I did an international challenge. You're going to have a look at the teams, the different Pokemon involved, how their stats racked up and through the entirety of the challenge and the matches we played, and also we're going to name our MVP, our most valuable Pokemon, at the end of this segment. So if you're excited and you're new to the channel, stick around, watch the video, see what you think. If you're new and haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We are just off 70 as I'm recording this, so it'd be great to get over the line on that. For any more content updates, there's a lot of stuff coming in the next upcoming months, and make sure you hit that like button as it really helps the channel out. So without wasting any more time, we're going to jump straight into this one with our first Pokemon. So the first one we're going to talk about is our Tapu. So Tapu is now a mainstay of VGC 2017. Most teams run at least one, some teams run two. I'm running Tapu Fini on my team. I'm not a massive fan of Ultra Beasts, so there are no Ultra Beasts on my team whatsoever. They're a little bit too close to legendaries, and I'm not a big fan of running those on teams. I'd rather run normal ones. Tapus, however, are slightly different. Their stats are about on par with something like a Dragonite or a Metagross, plus you get the terrain, which is really handy. So while they're not OP enough to sort of dominate the main game completely, they're a really good asset to any team. Their terrain can come in really handy. Granted, it can come in and bite you in the butt occasionally, but that's part of the course. Everyone has to run their team's a different way. I really like Tapu Fini. She's a really good bulky water type. I'm a big fan of bulky water types myself. I like running Milotic, and she's, Milotic is one of the best bulky water types out there. Tapu Fini, on the other hand, is again a really good bulky water type, which is something I enjoy running. So, the Pokemon stats you can see on the screen next to me, and if you're wondering why I keep looking down, it's because I've actually got the stats in front of me here. You guys can't see it, they're just here. Just there. You guys can't see that, so I'm looking down to pull these stats off for you, but you can see them on the screen next to me. The levels are set to the levels my Pokemon are, because it was just easy to break down the IV breakdowns on it. I'm sure some eagle eyes of you are going to notice that I've actually got 8 remaining on this. Those are actually into special attack. I forgot to put that on when I was actually doing the stat build, but it was late at night when I was doing it. So as you can see, we have Assassination Tapu Fini, which is plus special defense minus speed. So Tapu Fini is quite a slow Pokemon. There was no point really investing speed into her. However, plus special defense nature was fantastic, because that's one of the good things she does very well. Moons, we are running Scald, and while with her we can't burn anything with her terrain if it's on the ground, we can burn some airborne types, which you do see. So things like Skarmory, Salamence, we can burn, maybe nerf their attack a little bit. We're running Dazzling Gleam, as it gives us stab and Garchomp cover, which is always handy, and also hits super hard and is a nice spread move, so we're getting double hits off on stuff, which can occasionally win you the game when you get into a 2-on-1. We're running Protect, because Poison Jab Garchomp is a thing, and it's nice to be able to protect with her and do some damage to the Chomp when it goes for it. And we're running Ice Beam, because Garchomps are everywhere in this format. Garchomps for days. She gets the ability Misty Surge. Misty Surge prevents statuses, so what any Pokemon touching ground can't be paralysed, put to sleep, burnt, toxic, anything like that. So it's a really handy one to have around, particularly in VGC where there's a lot of those sort of nerfs and buffs that come into play. We're also running Citrus Berry, just so we can get some good health recovery, and we got down to half. We invested, as you can see on the stats below, we invested 252 EVs into her hit points. She was only 12 IVs in hit points, so we didn't get a great one on that. However, we did get, which is typically my luck with her, perfect IVs on attack, which is kind of useless for her, to be brutally honest, but there we go. But we did get perfect IVs on defense, which is great, and we got perfect IVs on special defense, so definitely not the worst in the world on those. What, 1, 2? Yeah, 2 of those really handy to have, particularly really good IVs in. So in defense we invested 124, so we split the 2 defense into half basically. We invested 8 in special attack. It doesn't show it on this picture, that's why I've got 8 remaining, because I forgot to put it on. And we invested 124 into special defense to give us some really good bulk. So she can take both physical and special hits relatively well. The defense with the max hit points means you can live poison jabs off Garchomp, and you can just smash it back with a nice beam. You might not leave a double up, but it also means you can stare down a Tapu Koko, your life up Tapu Koko, and take a couple of hits and potentially survive and get some damage off as well. We looked at on nature, we got sassy nature, which is brilliant. So really pleased with that one when we were going some hunting on the game. As I say, these weren't soft reset, they were literally just caught and as they were, and I sort of looked out a little bit, so I'll take that because I usually get the worst that possible with these sort of things. We actually bought our Fini to 5 matches overall. During those 5 matches she picked up 3 KOs, which is really good. She was knocked out twice, It gives her an average KO score of about 1.6 KOs per game. So overall, she really put in the work for us over the 5 games that were recorded, which I pulled this information off. Obviously, the 6th game I've got no info for. Sorry. Don't think it would have made too much of a difference, to be fair though. So Tapu Fini, all in all, a really good mon. Definitely look at running it on your team if you're looking for some bulk. Feel free to use this set, see what you think of it. If you've got any suggestions or maybe ways I can improve it, drop those in the comments down below as well at the end of the video, and I'll have a look at them. Otherwise, we'll try and reply back to comments anyway. So we'll move on from Tapu Fini now, and we'll go into next up we have Mudsdale. So Mudsdale is one of my favourite Gen 7 Pokemon. I absolutely love horse design Pokemon anyway. Rapidash being one of my favourites from Gen 1. I took me 101 encounters to get a shiny one of those, who I love to bits, which is called Shadowfax. Now, fun fact, I tend to name Pokemon after lots of different things. However, my horse Pokemon are actually both named of horses from Lord of the Rings. So you have Shadowfax, which is my Rapidash, which was named after Gandalf's horse in the Lord of the Rings series, and we have Rohirrim. Now, Rohirrim is the horse that finds Aragorn in the wild after the fight with the Orc Riders. And it's kind of a cool looking Pokemon. It even looks a bit like him being brown and black. Brown with dark mane, which is brilliant. Now, my Mudsdale that I'm using in this team isn't actually bred for specifically. This was one I caught in the game and went through my story mode. Now, I tend to get a bit attached to Pokemon. That might be to a detriment for me. I don't know. You can leave that in the comments down below. I don't mind. Everyone has different things. I might be stupid for getting attached. I don't care. That's just me. I love this Mudsdale. This Mudsdale is a boss. So as you can see from the screen, this Mudsdale has one perfect EV, which is its attack, which we don't use a lot of. However, the rest of them are pretty trash, to be brutally honest. And we have a Careful Nature, which is plus special defense, which is probably not the one I'd run with if I was breeding with it. However, this thing put in work, even without perfect IV. So those of you who want to play online and are worried about breeding, while it does make a difference, if you still, some of your in-game Pokemon can still put in massive work online, and this one proves the point. As you can see, we are running high horsepower. Ground Stab is super clutch. There's a lot of things that weak to it, can wreck and hit a lot. I didn't decide to run Earthquake on this thing simply because it hits both targets, and high horsepower, A being its signature move, looks really cool, and secondly, it's a single target ground attack. We don't get too many of those in VGC, which means you can hit something really hard with a great stab, but you're not doing damage to your own Pokemon in the process. This means, for instance, you can pair up very nicely with my Incineroar, and I haven't got to worry about KOing myself with an Earthquake. It also does great damage to a lot of mons. It's a 2-hit KO on Chomp, even with my current EV spreads, which we've only got 4 in attack, so it's a great thing to have. We have Heavy Slam. Heavy Slam covers fairies. It will pretty much one-shot a Mimikyu once Disguise is broken. It can do massive damage depending on the spread to pretty much all of the Tapus, even one-shotting Tapu Lele's in the process. And again, that's the only I've got perfect IVs in that attack stat, but we only invested 4 into it. We are running match hit points because this is my bulky wall. You get the Stamina ability, which means every time you take a physical hit, you get the Stamina boost, which is brilliant because you can sit in there on things like chomps and stuff, take damage, and get your defense raised up, and then start smashing stuff back in the face. Brilliant. We are running a rest set on here, so the idea is you take damage, you build your defense up till it's maxed or as close to max as you can get before you die, and then you click rest. You rest up, you get all your health points back, you've got a nice big increased defense, and then Chesto Berry rakes you up. We have to be a little bit careful because Finny's ability won't let you go to sleep, so while he doesn't play great with Finny in that regard, the two can put in work together and do have a little bit of synergy. We just have to be very careful we don't press rest while the terrain's live, but we only have to store that out for a couple of turns, so about 5 turns, which isn't a massive amount in VGC. So Rock Slide on there as well, so Rock Slide hits both targets as a double target move as we're not running Earthquake. That comes in super clutch. Flinches are a thing. While I'm not a big fan of playing to hacks, you know what, I'll take a flinch if I can get it. I'll try not to rely on them to win matches, but sometimes that's all you can do, and I get flinched left, right and centre anyway, so you know what, it's nice to get some payback. Defense, we have got max in defense, 252 EVs in defense. We are only running 13 IVs, it gives us a total of 234, so quite a bit off the max total, but that coupled with the Stamina ability comes in super handy. We are running no special defense investment, no special attack investment, and no speed investment. So it's all pretty much in defense, hit points, and 4 in attack. So this is a really good physical bulky sweeper. It can do a fair bit of damage on the switch-ins. It can take physical hits. It can dish out damage. It also pairs really, really well with Vickerbolt with Discharge because you're immune, which means you can get some good damage off with Discharge, while this thing just keeps smashing holy hell out of stuff and getting stamina boosts. We ended up bringing Mudsdale to 4 of our 5 matches, so this Pokemon came to the vast majority of games, along with Tapu Fini. During that time, bear in mind this thing is not bred for the feed, it managed to pick up 6 KOs. It was only ever KO'd once in one matchup. So despite this thing not being bred for competitive, this boy put in some work for us. It picked up an average of 1.5 KOs per match. Too many KOs. It picked up an average of 1.5 KOs per matchup, which is great for a Pokemon that has not been bred for competitive. So if ever you needed proof that non-competitive bred mons cannot work in VGC, here is the proof for it, guys. Maybe it's a one-off, I don't know. Let me know what you think down below. But this boy really put in some work for it. Love him to bits, and he's not getting replaced anytime soon. Next we have a breakdown of our Ments Tiamat. So if you watch some of the previous double battles live, you'll see certain mons that have made its way onto our international challenge team and some have been dropped off. That team I was having real trouble playing. One of the key things for that is although there were some really good mons on that team, it doesn't particularly got any decent speed mons, and I was losing matches due to speed. We were running Drampa as our dragon before, and while I love Drampa and definitely one of the best new Gen 7 mons out there and my favourite normal type, from now on, I just wanted a little bit of speed. So Ment is pretty quick. He's not Garchomp fast, but I'm not a big fan of Garchomp, and I tend to not use stuff that gets overused in the meta. I tend to come up with my own things. However, Ment is really handy because it gives us an Intimidate. So Intimidate drops attack, I'm sure as you guys know, by 1 stage, and that's a really good thing to have in on physical attackers. As a couple of switches in, you can nerf their attack and live hits that you wouldn't normally live. So while looking at a bit of speed, I was like, well, I've already got Aments, I've used it in doubles before. I'm sure you guys are aware of Spaceship, my other Ments. However, this one was, I just wanted a slightly different moveset on it. I wanted to mix some things up, so we bred Tiamat. So Tiamat is named after the first dragon, I believe it is, from Dungeons & Dragons lore. I am a complete nerd. So it is running a timid nature, which is plus speed minus attack, and we are a special attacking Ments because I wanted to try and keep the physical special split on the team. So 3 physical attackers and 3 special attackers. That way Intimidate users, if everything is physical, aren't a massive problem. You can work around them a bit better. He's holding Dragonian Z because it is easily the coolest looking Z move. I'm a bit of a dragon buffo. I'm sure you've probably guys realised that. If you watch some teams, I always tend to have a dragon type on my team anyway, and Ments is one of my favourites. So he's rocking Dragonian Z because it looks freaking badass. We're running the ability Intimidate. We are a level 51. We are running the moves Protect because Protect is a thing. Now I wanted, my first thought was, oh, I'll put Tailwind on it. Tailwind was a learning move from Aurus and he's currently not available in VGC 2017. Gutted, because that would have given me a bit of speech control, but we couldn't do that, so we had to switch things up a bit. So we put Protect on there. That's fair for a couple of reasons. One, it gives us a chance to, if we've got it paired with Finny, to maybe Protect to draw the Garchomp in and get an Ice Beam up on the Chomp on the switch in. Also, Protect is always a good thing to have for scouting and information on what they're running, so Protect is on there. We are running Flamethrower because it gives us some really good coverage, particularly against ice types, and there are a lot of Alola Vulpixes, Alola Ninetales, not Vulpixes, running around in this format. So Flamethrower is a really good heart counter to those. We're running Draco Meteor for stab. That, coupled with Dragonian Z, does a butt ton of damage to pretty much any mon that takes it. You have to be careful of the Fairy Switch, but anything that is not a Fairy type is going to take a massive amount of damage from that move. And we are running Rock Tomb. So Rock Tomb's an interesting one, but because I couldn't put Tailwind on, I wanted some form of speed control on there. So Rock Tomb, when it hits, drops the opponent's speed by 1. It potentially gives us a chance if we've got him out on the field and they're potentially going to go out into Garchomp, who outspeeds me by, I think it's about 2 points timid. Because we're timid, which gives us plus speed minus attack. Depends on what nature the Garchomp is, but it's either a +2 or a speed tie, depending on nature. So Rock Tomb allows me to catch it on the switch of a Rock Tomb, drop its speed to when we can just KO it straight back with a Draco Meteor or a Dragonian Z move. That's the plan. Never always quite works out like that, but that was the thought process behind that. EV wise, we are looking at we have max IVs in hit points, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed. So we have 5 IV, which is really cool. It took a while to breathe that in there, but we managed to get it in the end. Particularly the -1. I think I got minus special attack up there, 2 or 3 with minus special attack and plus attack, and I wanted a special attacker, so that sort of nerfed it a little bit. We're running 4 hit points, 4 EVs in hit points, because you always end up when you max 2 with a random amount of 4 left. If I haven't maxed hit points, it usually goes into hit points, because those are the clutch moments where you live on 1 and can particularly much sway a game for you occasionally, so always worth doing. We are max special attack with 252 in special attack, and we are max speed with 252 in speed, which takes us to 167. So this guy's fast, he doesn't outspeed Chomp, depending on nature. However, we compared him with Rock Tomb, and when he links up with Vikavolt, we've got some really good things there to try and get a bit of speed control. We brought him to 3 matches. I think he only hit the field once in those 3 matches, so he didn't pick up any KOs, he didn't get KO'd, so his average was 0. So not the most useful one on the team, but something I wanted on there as a fallback. And he came to a few matches, came in handy with some Intimidates, as you guys have probably seen in the videos. If not, go and check them out. But do I regret putting him on the team? No, he definitely gave us a bit of speed. He gave me some options which I hadn't got with Drampa, as much as I love Drampa. And Drampa being so slow at times was not frustrating, but cost us a couple of games. So definitely a welcome riding. Shame we didn't get a chance to show him off as much in some other battles, but that's the matchups for you. Sometimes you get a good matchup where it suits him, and other times we haven't. So this time around we were a bit unlucky. So that was our Salamence. So next up we have Kain, our Incineroar. So Incineroar is one of those that I wanted to add to the team. We've been playing around with him for a little while on some double battles, and you always seem to put him to work. But we get some great support options as well with Fake Out, and we'll quickly look at his stats. So we called him Kain after the wrestler Kain. Kain is a heal wrestler who wears black and red, and he's burnt in the flames, and the fire is kind of his gimmick. Sure, there's no coincidence there, Game Freak. Sure, there's no coincidence there at all. Kain is Adamant, so we're plus attack minus special attack, which is perfect. You can run Mixed Sense, but I much prefer the physical attacking variant, because Fake Out with max attack does quite a bit of damage for a Fake Out, to be fair. We are rocking the Assault Vest, which means we can take a Hydro Pump. I think it's a 2-hit KO with Assault Vest. Hopefully it misses on one of those turns. Fingers crossed, because it's, you know, Hydro Pump, and every time I use it, it misses. So it should for everybody else, really, just to keep it fair. We are running 5 IVs, so we have got everything bar special attack, because that's what we're not using. We are max hit points, so 252 in hit points, which takes us to 232. We are currently at level 58, so that will drop obviously when we get into VGC and the levels are sorted out. We are running max hit points, max attack, with Adamant Nature, which takes us to 211 attack, and we are running 4 in special defense. That just helps with the Assault Vest, so that gives us a tiny little bit of extra bulk with that Assault Vest to help us lift some of those special hits. We ended up bringing Kain to 2 matches. He got 2 KOs and was not KO'd at all, so he actually put in some good work for us. He averaged about 1 KO per match. So Incineroar is a really cool Pokemon, and one that I really enjoyed using. Fake Out support is really handy. As you can see, we've got that on there. It's even in today's meta, Fake Out is still a thing. You just have to be careful with Lele's, because Fake Out doesn't work because of her terrain, but overall it's a really clutch move, and I think there's one match which might be worth checking out where you can see us put that into great effect, where we predict the Protect on the Arcanine, we Fake Out the Garchomp and then kill it with an Ice Beam before he can do anything to any of our team. So Fake Out can come in really clutch. We're rocking Flare Blitz. Not only is it stab, it is one of the hardest hitting fire type moves in the game. It does a butt ton of damage, you just have to be careful on recall. We're running Darkest Lariat again because it is stab. It's also his signature move. It's a spinning clothesline. It looks really cool. For those of you who grew up in characters like me, it's very reminiscent of Mike Haggar from Final Fight. Signature move, and Zangief from who then inherited it later on from Street Fighter 2. Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter Super Duper Ultra Mega Special Singing Edition, whatever, I don't know, they've done hundreds, go and check them out, they're good games. And we are rocking Earthquake, so Earthquake gives us a bit of good coverage and hits other fire types, so why would you not run it? Kain came in really super clutch in some games. I'm really glad we put him on the team. It's a mon I've really enjoyed using, so definitely check Incineroar out. Probably one of the most, I'm going to say the most competitive starter, but as much as I love Decidueye and I love the design, the problem with Decidueye is all his stats are kind of equal, they're all kind of the same. He doesn't excel in any area, which kind of makes him okay, but not amazing online. Incineroar, on the other hand, has got some really good hit points and attacking stats, and can do some really good stuff. And you can run a mix set on this thing as well if you really want to be that guy. But I really enjoyed using him, particularly as a physical sweeper, and it came in clutch in some of the matches. So that was our Incineroar. So next we have Vikavolt. So Vikavolt, again, was one when they announced the design for Vikavolt, and I'm not a big bug Pokemon fan, to be brutally honest. I don't think I've ever run before this gen. I love the design for Vikavolt. He kind of reminds me of an Insecticon from Transformers back from when I was a kid, and they were really cool. Not as cool as the Dinobots, obviously, because, you know, dinosaurs, but it was still quite a cool little toy. Turned into a bug and a robot and a bug and a robot and a bug and a robot. You guys know what Transformers do. The design is very, very reminiscent of it. I think it's the sort of angular shape and the two prongs, pincers coming out of its face does make it look like it would quite easily fit in with those line of certain toys. However, I really struggled. I used one for my playthrough for the game, and while I enjoyed it, I struggled to find a competitive set. However, someone much cleverer than me, CantoCast Blue, go and check him out on the channel. I will link that in the description, because this set was actually his to a degree. I've not seen his EV spreads, but I kind of guessed this is what he was using. This set is fantastic and worked really, really well in competitive. So as soon as I saw him running it, I was like, I'm going to have a go at that, because that actually works really well with my team. That sort of fills a gap in a niche I was looking at. So we are running at level 50. We are running a modest nature, which is plus special attack and minus attack, because we've got no physical attacks on this thing. He is our special attacker. He is quite bulky. We are max hit points, so we can take a couple of hits, which is kind of part of the design of this thing. The temptation that I did on game when I saw it was I assume this thing was fast, because it looks like it should be fast, but it's actually not. It's really, really slow, and I maxed out its speed stat and then wondered why I was struggling with it. This actually works. It works much, much better. We are running. So also, as you guys can see, this was on iBred. This is my boy. I was also really pleased with this because while I was breeding these, I actually hatched my first ever 6 IV Pokemon, and Vikavolt is it. So as you guys can see from the stats, we are max IVs across the board. My boy, love him. So this is one of my proudest achievements in breeding gen Pokemon. It's a bit of a sad thing, I know, but still, I very rarely get 6 IVs. This is the only one I've ever had. We are max hit points, which takes us to 184 at level 50. We are negative attack nature. We've got no attacks, doesn't matter. We're not investing anything in that. We have 4 in defense. Rock Slide, Garchomp is a thing. We want it to be able to tank those hits a little bit better. And also take on a few other physical attackers if we need to. We are max special attack, 252, which takes us to 216. And we are a modest nature, which is plus special attack minus attack, which is brilliant. Move wise, we are running Discharge. It's a multi-move hit. You have to be careful repairing this with Tapu Fini, which is partly why my Fini's got Protect, because I can Protect and Discharge. We are running String Shot. So String Shot is a really interesting move where it drops speed of both Pokemon on the opponent's field by 2 stages. So my team is not particularly fast. We've got a few mons that can hit a little bit quicker, like Mence, but there's not really any natural fast Pokemon in there. And in a meta where a lot of the stuff is either really slow or Garchomp super fast, we wanted something that we could control the speed on, and String Shot does that brilliantly. We are also rocking Bug Buzz because it is stab and it can 2-shot a Garchomp on the switch. And we're also rocking Protect. So we put Protect on there again just for scouting options. It gives us a few things to play. We can try and bait a hit on it maybe, and then Protect and hit back with the other one. We are running, as you can see, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, a glove berry. So what the glove berry does is it gives you more back than the citrus, but only triggers when you get into the red. So that max hit points that we're running enables us to do that. It's in one of the matches, but we managed to actually get that working, which was great. So you can go back and watch that one. It must be a little bit heartbreaking, to be fair, when this thing's causing chaos on your whole team, and then you think you've nearly KO'd it next turn, and you get all its health back. Pretty much all its health back. But this was a set that Blue was running, and it is a brilliant, brilliant set. So shout out to him. This thing was an absolute boss in the matches we brought it to. It pairs brilliantly with Mudsdale because Mudsdale is immune to Discharge, so we can bring Mudsdale in and just keep clicking Discharge. Hopefully we get some paras. But no, this thing is really, really good. If you're not running one, I definitely recommend giving it a go on a team. It gets access to some really cool moves. It also gets access to Electro Rev. Now Bank has gone live, which works a bit like an electric version of Icy Wind. It hits both mons with drops their speed. Obviously it's an electric type attack though, so Garchomps are immune, so that is worth bearing in mind, which is why I kept String Shot. We ended up bringing Vikavolt or Swarm to 2 matches. He picked up 1 KO, which gives him an average of 0.5, but he was super handy in the 2 matches that we brought him into. So definitely a good mon, definitely give it a go, see what you think. This set is fantastic. It is a really, really good set. So that brings us to the final mon on our team, which is Play-Doh and Muck. So you guys, if you've watched some of the other matches, are very, very aware of this Pokemon. It is one of the more common used ones in VGC. I hated it when I first saw the design, I'll be honest, but I've come to love this Pokemon because it does such a good job. So as you can see, Muck is female, she's level 58 and her name is Play-Doh. She's running the ability Glutton, which is easily its best ability. I have seen other people running both Poison Touch and Power of Alchemy. Not a big fan. Glutton tends to work slightly better. We've given it a Figgy Berry, so Figgy Berry would normally not trigger until you get into the red, but because of Glutton, it pops at half and you get absolutely pretty much all your energy back anyway. So it's a great berry to have on there and a brilliant ability. As you can see, in terms of IVs, we are running a Careful Nature, which is plus special defense and minus special attack, as this Muck is our special wall. She's designed, purely to deal with Tapus. Tapus are all fairy types, Poison Jab, either 1 shots or 2 shots of them, and pretty much all the Tapus are special attackers, with the exception of Bulu, but he's 4 times weak to poison anyway. So he's not going to want to take 1 Poison Jab, let alone 2 off a Muck, and you can't really do too much bar superpower back. So you have to play around it a little bit, but Muck can kind of still wall him. We are running max hit points, 252 in hit points, and we are 31 IVs in there as well. We have 4 in attack just to give those Poison Jabs a little bit more of a boost when needed. We have no defense investment. We have no special attack investment and no IVs in special attack either. We are max defense at 252, so we can take a hit. Boomerang does not KO us after Figgy Berry. The first one pops a Figgy, gets our health back, and we live the second one, which means a knockoff from Muck will usually 1 shot, depending on the build, a Alola Marowak. So really puts in some work. So Muck actually ended up coming with us to 4 matches. As you can see, we've got our movesets on there. I'm forgetting about those, we'll get to them in a second. So moveset wise, pretty much a standard Muck set that you tend to see on a lot, but it just works really well with this one. So we are rocking Poison Jab for stab and Knockoff for stab. Knockoff is really handy on the Switch. Also comes in handy for knocking certain items off, things like life orbs and things like that, just to lessen damage output of people's team. Still one of the best moves in the game. It had a slight nerf in damage output, I believe, this gen, but it's still great for getting rid of items. Shadow Sneak gives us priority. You can't use that on Lele because her ability negates it. However, it still comes in super handy. And Protect gives us an opportunity to protect if a Garchomp hits field and deal with it another way, or try and deal with it another way, and also gives us a chance to scout and bait people into moves into attacking Muck Protect and then get some damage off with that other mon. Play-Doh came with us to 4 matches. I'm going to keep calling her he, it's a she. She actually managed to pick up 6 KOs and was only ever KO'd once in all 4 of those matches. Gives her an average of 1.5, which is actually the same as our Mudsdale. So both these mons, highly defensive, actually coming in super clutch for us. And both did a great job. I can't say how much. If you're not running Muck on VGC this year, if you've not tried it yet, definitely give this Pokemon a go. It puts in nothing but the finest of work every single time I use it. I love this thing to bits. I take back everything I said about it when they first unveiled it, but it looked like a pile of melted Neapolitan ice cream. Still kind of does. But this Pokemon is brilliant, and this has been putting massive work for us during the whole of this tournament. So that brings us to our MVP of the tournament. So before we get into a breakdown of where we finished, we're going to highlight one of the which Pokemon I felt contributed the most to our team and to our performance in the game. So this is quite interesting. When you break down the actual stats, Tapu Fini actually has a higher average of KOs per game, but she was KO'd a lot more and came to less matches than the 2 Pokemon who actually drew the MVP slot. One of which was Mudsdale and the other one was Muck. They both came to the same amount of games, they were both KO'd the same amount of times, and they both picked up the same amount of KOs. Makes it a little bit tricky to work out which one is the most valuable Pokemon on the team. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Muck, and Muck is probably the one most of you game will Muck probably put in the most work. However, I'm going to give it to Mudsdale, purely because Muck was bred for competitive battling. Play-Doh has been bred purely to battle online and has got great IVs and stats in the right places and the right nature. Mudsdale, however, has not. Mudsdale was wild caught in Sun and Moon during my playthrough. He went through the playthrough of Sun and Moon with me, beat the Elite Four, did all the post game, and is now putting in work on VGC Online. So my pick for MVP, and if you guys want to disagree in the comment section, be my guest and leave that down there and we can have a discussion on it, is going to be Rohirrim my Mudsdale. This thing, despite having one perfect IV in the wrong stat and the wrong nature, put in as good a work as a Pokemon that was bred for competitive play. That says a lot, guys. So those of you that are feeling that you don't want to get into breeding, to get into competitive, it should not be a barrier. Grab a team, grab some favourite mons, roll up in your team and go and play the game. You will learn a lot, you'll have a lot of fun doing it. Try not to get too salty, because I get salty all the time, I can't help it, that's just who I am. But Mudsdale 100% are going to be my pick. As I say my pick, you guys can pick one yourself if you want to. Leave that down below and let me know what you think. Is going to be Rohirrim Mudsdale. Non-competitive bred, did and performed as well as a competitive bred mon. A fantastic result, and I'm really happy to have this thing on my team. Love it to bits. And that comes to my actual performance in the tournament. So I didn't get a lot of time. I didn't actually get a chance to practice with the team, and these aren't all excuses. This is just time constraints of working 50 hours a week and having 2 small children to look after. I don't get a lot of time, you guys know that. If you're new to the channel, you do now. However, I actually felt I played really well in this team. I'd actually been really struggling with the format up until International Challenge, and I think some of the changes when I went away and looked at the team and actually watched some videos by, there was a really good one by Cybertron Aaron Zhang, Cybertron Productions, about team building. And I was getting quite down on myself. It's like, why can't I build a team for this meta that works? And he pointed out the fact that team building is never you build a team and you're done. He's made teams that he thinks are going to work and doesn't, and he's made sort of changes to move sets on certain mons and that's helped, or he's swapped certain mons out and replaced them with something else. And that's kind of what happened with this team. A lot of this team you will see in the Battle Spot live videos early doors, but you'll notice 1 or 2 changes of certain mons and move sets that have changed, but seem to have just gelled this team together as a whole. I felt a lot more comfortable playing it, and one of the things Aaron said, and I will reiterate this, is play to your strengths. When I built the team originally, it was quite shenanigansy, if that's a word. I don't think it is. It was sort of, I would say, it was all sort of about like swagger and trick room and stuff I'm not confident playing, and that sort of made it quite tricky for me to get the hangs of picking it up, and it wasn't very natural, so I was second guessing myself a lot. The International Challenge team, when I made some changes to it and took certain ones out, put certain ones in, became much more a team that I'm used to playing. I'm much more of a predict counter player. I feel that my strengths are in working out, and I don't get it right 99% of the time, but when I do, it tends to work out pretty well. And I'm not saying I'm the best at this, but this is kind of my style, is I like to try and work out what my opponent's going to do and then try to find a way of either countering it or working back into my advantage. That's my play style, that's how I'm more comfortable playing. The changes I feel I made to this team really helped me do that in this tournament. We only managed to get 6 games in. I would have loved to have played more, but time was just not on my side. I got to play on the, I believe it was the Saturday night, for about an hour and a half. I'd have loved to have got more matches in, but I only managed to get in 6. We won 5, we lost 1. We actually finished on a total of 15,058, so we ended mid to high 15,000s. I believe we could probably have hit 16,000 if I'd have got time for a couple of games. We probably may have lost a couple on the way, but I do think I think 16,000 was there. I felt I was playing quite well. If you guys can make your mind up by going back and watching the videos, but I felt I was actually playing it quite well and dealing with stuff I'd been struggling on before pretty well. In UK terms, it actually put us at 280th in the UK. I was quite pleased with that. I would have liked to have charted higher. I think we finished top 100 in a couple of these events now, but again, time was a bit of an enemy on my side. I think 1600s would have put us around about probably inside the 100, not inside the 100s, so it was mid 150s too, depending on where we were in the 1600 malarkey. But I was quite pleased with 280. I honestly thought I was going to get wrecked going into this event. I'd not really, because I've been struggling with the format a little bit. So just to go positive was great. However, we actually finished 280th out of 1,898 players in the UK. So that actually puts us quite high in the top percentage of UK players. I'm sure some of you maths can grab your calculators and work it out. I'm not going to do that. My maths is awful and I will probably get it wrong. But overall, I was really pleased with that result. I do now wish I'd had a bit more time to get some more matches in, because I really think we could have done probably slightly better than we were. Definitely, I think 1600s was 100% there. But really pleased overall. World rankings, we actually finished in, we were quite a bit down. Well, we weren't quite a bit down, but we did quite well for display. So I've got the results on my laptop in front of me, so we're just going to quickly try and see where I finished overall, because I've only got the UK ones up. So we actually finished overall 14,648th. We beat quite a few Japanese players and things like that, but we could have charted higher. I think the top players were sort of like 1900s. I think there was a couple of 200s in there as well. I'm not sure what the top ones finished. If I just got my ranking, what's the top ranking? Yep, no, can't find it. Okay, that's fine. So we actually finished fairly high. Top 20,000 in the world. There's probably, I don't know how many people took part. I'm not going to go spend an hour clicking back on global link. If anybody wants to do that for me, let me know in the comments, but I haven't got the time at the moment. Just trying to squeeze this video in to be recorded so it can go out with I'm recording it. Fingers crossed that's going to happen. Pretty pleased overall with that result. Shout out to Matty B. I think he charted just under 16,000, so he should have finished a little bit higher in the table than I did. He got quite a few more matches in though, to be fair, but he's playing a blinder at the moment in that format. He seems to have gelled really well with it, while I'm still trying to learn it a little bit. That's pretty much it, guys. If there's questions, anything you want to know, leave those in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video and you're still with us, I've no idea how long this video is going to be. I've got to sit down and edit all in a minute. Let me know down below if you made it to the end of the video. Your thoughts on the International Challenge. Did you take part? Would you like to have took part but couldn't? Any ideas on team building? Anything you'd like me to try and build maybe on the channel? I say time is a bit of an issue, but we can always try. QR rental teams and everything as well. If anybody wants to practice with my team, I can do a QR rental team for you. I'll post a link to it when I work out how you do it. Maybe do a video and you guys can have a play with it and see what you feel of the team. That's not a bad idea, actually. We'll do that. Let me know if you've got something you guys would be interested in. Have yourselves a good day, guys. And if I don't see you around, I will see you on Battle Spot. Take care for now. Bye.